Good morning once again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Bob Dillard pregame show, brought to you by the Blue Devil Booster Club, Fakes and Hookers Porter Paints Decorating Center, Aflac's Regional Headquarters, Hayes Mirror and Glass and Joe Hayes, Lebanon Mayor Don Fox, Lebanon Heating and Air Conditioning, and those guys that run the operation, Don Bennett and James Parkerson. We're going to be going to some highlights from last week's big win over Kaywood. Coach, we've got a sequence here with Bo Grissom, a couple of plays. Bo ran the ball well.
Right, that play there happened to be a 31 trap, and Bo gets in the hole and gets upfield for about 10, 11 yards.
And then you give it right back to him. He works so hard to get it down there, you let him get it in the end zone.
Right, we just give it to him here on 32 dive, and I told him to get about 6 inches off the ground and get in the end zone, and he did that. Did a good job.
And following the touchdown, we've had some problems in the early going of the season, but our kicking unit came through and put the ball through the uprights.
Right. I think Kyle Zachary kicks this one through the uprights, and both those guys did a good job for us Friday night.
Joel Griffin comes here on the stunt.
Right. We felt like that their quarterback, if we gave him time to throw the football, could do some damage, so we tried to put a lot of pressure on him, and Joel gets after him right here.
And another highlight from that big 28-0 win over Kaywood, Jade Sellers running the football.
Right. We felt like we needed to try to run over them as much as we could with the rain and things like it was. And here Jade runs over their defensive back, and Jade really likes contact, and he'd rather run over somebody as to run around it. But when we get an open field like that, we gotta run the daylight.
And
good shot of the rain.
Yeah. Elliot Carson here with a touchdown catch from Jason Reeder, and a good catch on a low ball.
Yeah, I couldn't see this from the sideline, but after looking at film, Elliot made a heck of a catch there. He goes down and picks it up right off the ground. Does a good job.
And with the touchdown, we mentioned Zachary had scored the PAT earlier, and J.L. Presley, the sophomore, comes in and knocks one through.
Right. These two guys have been battling for a kicking spot all year, and we can't seem to settle on either one of them. They both kick about the same, so we're just going to let them both kick.
Kind of got a group meeting back here at the Kaywood quarterback. We got Gannon, Lehue, and Crockett coming hard against the quarterback.
They're running the belly play there, what we call the belly, and as you can see, we've got 3 guys that hit him in the backfield.
Next up for Lebanon, Brooks Cherry comes in motion, and we get him the football down the sideline.
This is what we call 86 wheel, and Brooks runs the down, out, and down route, and he's about 5 yards behind the corner, and Jason makes a good throw and gets him the football. Does a good job.
On the game, we had 8 tackles for loss, and well, here comes Ron C. right here with another big interception.
Right. That was a big play for us. They're driving the football on us, and they get down on our end of the field, and Ron steps up and makes a big play. We've had that in the last 2 ball games. Somebody makes a big play when we need it.
Chris Stafford came in and ran the football well for us.
Right, Chris came in the second half, and here he breaks 2 or 3 tackles, and he's still churning and getting extra yardage, and he gives a good effort. He does a good job.
Well, a lot of folks will say a measure of a good running back is the yardage he gets after initial contact.
Right.
He just kept plugging.
Right. We tell our backs that they ought to never end up going backwards. And here he makes a good cut, cuts back across the grain, and breaks a couple of tackles and gets down to the 11-yard line. Chris runs hard, and our offensive line did a good job there also.
Speaking of the offensive line, if I remember right, on this next play, Chris just gets on the hip of Woodall and rides him into the end zone.
Right, he sidesteps the tackler there and then cuts back off of Shane's block on the sweep and gets us in the end zone.
And ending up our replay and highlights portion, there's John with a fire extinguisher on the sidelines. I know you didn't get to see this. This might be your first look, but here comes Raymond Lassiter with his firewall stunt. For the folks that didn't get a chance to see it, that's real fire. Of course, that's real rain.
Yeah. Now this is we saw this on film Monday.
Okay.
We didn't get to see it live, but we saw it on film. Here's another shot of it.
And I thought it was funny was one of our managers had a fire extinguisher and he was on the ground. He couldn't get to Raymond.
Right, I think we'll see that. Jeremy slipped his ball right there. Raymond, he takes care of a lot of things for us. He's not short on guts. You can give him that.
I thought last week's game our defense played a great football game in that they got pressure on the quarterback. I believe about 11 tackles behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, we felt like going into it, like I said earlier, that if we gave that kid time to throw the football, he could do some damage. And we came up with a couple stunts and automatic here and there, and we got after him pretty good.
Offensively, we ran the ball well, but Jason Reeder threw the ball pretty good.
Well, we decided going out that we wasn't going to let the weather change our game plan. That we were still going to throw it when we needed to throw it. And but our offensive line did a good job running over their defense. If you can move the football on the ground, then you can throw it whenever you need to. If you can get people concerned with stopping your running game.
You talked about the offensive line. That's a group that has made steady improvement from week one. We have really made some strides in the offensive line.
Well, I think so. We've, those guys, they play offense, and that's all they do. We don't have anybody in our offensive line that plays on defense, and we do that because we feel that if they can work on that every day, all day long while we're out there, that they're bound to get better. And I think they've shown improvement over the first 4 games.
Oakland, the game folks will be seeing here in just a moment. You talked to the team a little while ago, and you said records don't mean anything, that when it's Lebanon, Oakland, you better get ready for a war.
Right. This is my 7th year around this Lebanon Oakland ball game, and every year that I've been around, it's just been a dogfight from kickoff to gun, and we're not expecting anything less than that tomorrow night when we go over there.
Oakland has shown some flashes of almost brilliance. They played Lincoln County to a 14-7 game in the season opener. They were down 20 points against Hendersonville and came back and won that game in overtime. Oakland has just been on a kind of an emotional roller coaster this year.
Yeah, they have. It seems like they've been up and down, up one week, down the next, and then up the next week. And physically, they're going to be as good-looking a football team as we'll see. They're big up front, and they've got good-looking people, and we just hope that we can go over and set the tone early and have a couple of good things happen to us early, and maybe take a little wind out of them.
They've got a young guy quarterback, a sophomore named Counts, and they don't mind throwing the football.
He throws it well. If we give him time to throw it, he'll do some damage as well. He's like we said, he's a young kid, but he shows some pretty good poise and stands in there and throws the football to people.
From an offensive point of view, we really don't know exactly what defense they'll be in because they have played a couple of different looks this year.
Yeah, they've played two different looks that we know about. We were told they played a 50 look some early in the fall, but we haven't seen them do any of that in the films that we have. So all we can do is prepare for what we know they're going to do, and if they come out and do something different, we'll have to adjust to it.
Okay, Coach, it's a regional game, and we can talk about the homecoming and the celebration, but that's over. But we're back in the region battles this week.
Right. From here on out, it's nitty-gritty every week. If we want to get in the playoffs and play for a state championship, then we've got to have these next 6 ball games. They're all big.
That's it for this edition of the Bob Dillard pregame show, brought your way by Lebanon Heating and Air, Lebanon Mayor Don Fox, Hayes Mirror and Glass, Aflac's regional headquarters, Fakes and Hookers, Porter Paints Decorating Center. Stay tuned for kickoff of Lebanon and Oakland.
With Lebanon and Cablevision presents Lebanon Blue Devil Football with your announcer Tommy Bryan, play-by-play by Sam Axley, statistician Terry Stafford, and your on-the-field reporter John Bryan.
Welcome to another week of Lebanon football. We're in Murfreesboro on the campus of Middle Tennessee State as the Blue Devils get ready to take on Murfreesboro Oakland. They're trying to keep up that 3-game winning streak after losing the opening game to Columbia. They're 3-0 after that and 2-0 in the region, and they try to make it 3-0 tonight. So kick back, relax, grab some popcorn, We'll be back with Lebanon football in just a moment.
Devil supporters.
You're watching Blue Devil football on Lebanon Cablevision Channel 3. Let's go, Devils!
For tonight's game.
Blue captain or white captain, somebody come to me. I'll explain the options to you. You tell me what you want to do. If you don't understand it, have to explain it again. Be glad to. Once you make a decision, it's final, okay? Okay, fellas? There's an emphasis on sportsmanship this year. We will not tolerate taunting, baiting, anything. It'll cost you 15, okay? So let's just play good football. Okay, you guys pick the team you're going to call it. Say it's a silver dollar. Right. Call it head. You call heads, it's heads, you won the toss. Wait a minute, they get the option next, okay? White team.
The Blue Devils have won the toss. They have elected to defer to the second half.